Conversations with the Empress. I am the Empress. And today we have another one for you. It's the Raw and Real Wednesday. No graphics, no edits, just me popping my shit. Whatever shit that may be. Because you know I always got some shit to pop. I was watching this crime shit. This crime, I love crime TV like ID Channel, and I love watching them things. Even though I don't fuck with Popo and shit like that, but I just like watching them things. And they was telling this story about this man who met this woman, and he had fallen so deeply in love with her so quickly. And then it turned out later that they found out that she was into voodoo, which y'all know as voodoo, but the right way to call this voodoo. And she don't mind me, I'm just doing my hair. She had put period blood in his food or something like that. And she had put like a spell on him by doing that. And I have heard people say that people do that, but I've never really encountered that. So, I started thinking about it, and I'm like, and you know how guys are always like, oh, can you cook? I want you to cook for me. Y'all need to be careful about who y'all letting cook for y'all. Because, letting somebody have access to your food could be very detrimental, especially if you don't know the person that well, or, trust hasn't been established and all of that. Think back over times. Kings and queens used to have somebody be a taster for them for their food before they ate it so they didn't die. Like, a lot of women out here is on some shit, and you might find yourself caught up with somebody you don't really want to be caught up with just because you ate a good meal. Like, you got to be careful out here. I'm not trying to put no spells on nobody that ain't natural, okay? I am the spell, boo-boo. I ain't got to put nothing in your food, okay? But I felt sorry for that man because that spell that she put on him worked, had him up in some shit, and this was overall bad for business. But, I think that just goes in part with, I grew up in a time where a woman needed to know how to cook for a husband. So I did learn how to cook because I had a husband at one point. But, you got to trust somebody to eat their food. People say, oh, I don't eat everybody's this or I don't eat everybody's that. Yeah, you got to trust people to eat their food. Because I know my mama, if your house dirty, she ain't eating at your house. My mama tell you with the quickness, no, I don't eat anything that comes from her house because, yeah, your house is nasty. I don't know what's in that food. You throw shit together and I can't. But be careful who you out here with. Like, can't have no nip slip. Let me fix that. Be careful who you out here partnering with and getting in relationships with, because everybody, like, a lot of people have ulterior motives, like, and I find that, like, I deal with that a lot because I never have ulterior motives when I'm dealing with somebody. Like, I never have ulterior motives. The only goal I have is to love you and to be loved back. I love with a pure heart. Like, I've always been like that. And it's actually surprising to me that I'm still like that after all the fuck tarts and messed up dudes that I've dealt with in my life. But that's just how I love. Like, I have everything that I could need or want within myself. The only thing that I need or want outside of myself is love. A connection, a companion, you know what I'm saying? So I don't have ulterior motives. And I think a lot of times the fact that I don't have ulterior motives makes people think that I do. Like, I'm conning them or something. I'm not conning you. I'm just a pure-hearted person. Like, I know it ain't that many of us out here left like that, but if I show interest in you and I'm with you, I don't have any ulterior motives for why I'm with you, other than you make me happy, we enjoy each other's time, we get along well, shit like that. Like, I don't need your money, I got my own. I don't need your car. I got my own. I don't need you to pay my rent. I've been paying it all this time by myself. Okay. Now, if you want to come in and do some shit because you want to do some shit, that's different. But do I want you here for that? No. I like being able to make my own money and take care of stuff myself. It would be nice to have a man that came into my life that wanted to pay some bills, but, you know, it ain't all about that for me. But some people out here so desperate to be in a relationship and so scared to be alone that they'll just be with anybody. And I'm way past that point in my life of, you know, wanting to just be with anybody. You know, it takes me back to something that my mother said to me because, you know, in my older age, now I have these great conversations with my mom about being a woman and dating and men. And, you know, she had made this statement to me one time and she said, you know, Jackie, some women just happy with a piece of man. And I'm like, what you mean a piece of man? And she was like, just a piece of man, whatever part of him that they could get. So if he's somebody else's, they don't care as long as they're getting, you know, some type of something from him or good sex or money or something like that. Listen, I don't want no piece of man, you know. I don't want just part of someone. I want all of them because that's what I give, all. But some people will just partner with anybody. And then once you're a partner, you're like, oh shit, what the fuck did I get myself into? Then people start having babies that they ain't plan on having. And then that caused more permanent residency in your life. I ain't trying to give nobody permanent residency in my life that I don't want it to be there permanently, okay? So that means we ain't making no babies. That means we ain't sharing no accounts. We ain't doing none of that until I know for sure that you permanent. Like, I've dealt with guys that wanted to get me pregnant, like tried hard to get me pregnant. I always made sure that I did what I needed to do, you know, to maintain not being pregnant, especially because I never wanted to have kids. And secondly, some people want to get you pregnant for the wrong reasons, you know? Some people want to get you pregnant for the wrong reasons. I have avoided being pregnant all these years. I'm 42 years old. I think I'm doing a pretty good job at avoiding getting pregnant. That's not to say that I wouldn't get pregnant for the right person. But, you know, I just feel like there's no accidental babies these days. No accidental babies. There's too many ways to prevent yourself from getting pregnant. Matter of fact, I want to share the birth control that I use. It's called Neem. It's a natural, plant-based, just a supplement, but it's a natural contraceptive. You take 6 pills a day throughout the day or all at once, and it's a natural contraceptive. If you take 6 all at once, like let's say you getting it in with your boo stank or whatever, and you know he accidentally shoot the club up or whatever, the next morning if you take 6 neem pills, it's the same thing as taking the morning after pill, except it doesn't cause you the physical distress or damage to your body because it's natural. You know, one of the best things somebody ever told me about was that damn neem, because I don't like using real birth control. I feel like those hormones and stuff are so bad for your body, and I really just don't like putting meds in my body. Like, I always will go towards something holistic before I shoot for meds, man-made meds. But yeah, just be careful who y'all laying down with out here, man. You know, I remember when I first started having sex when I was in high school. You know, my parents found out about it, and my mom took me to my godmother's house at the time. She's not the official godmother, but she's the godmother that I recognize as my godmother. God rest her soul, she's passed on now. But after my mom found out I was having sex, she sent me to my godmother's house to help her clean chickens for church service, right? You know, and if anybody know, cleaning chickens all day is tiring, it's gross, it's just annoying. It's like manual labor. And for a kid who hated being in the kitchen, I definitely hated it. But I remember standing at the sink with my godmother, and she was quiet most of the day, just giving me silent instructions on what to do. And we're standing at the sink together, and she's talking to me, and she's like, "Oh, so your mom told me that you're out here having sex now or whatever." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Are you gonna stop?" And I'm like, "I don't know." The normal teenage answer, "I don't know." And she said, "Since you don't know, I'm gonna give you some advice." And she said, "Whoever these little nappy-headed ends you laying down with," she said, "make sure that they are willing and able to take care of you and whatever children you produce if you're gonna lay down with them." She said, "Because whenever you lay down with somebody, you are always taking a chance at getting pregnant. So if you're gonna lay down, make better decisions about who you laying down with." And that was some words of advice from her that I carried my whole life, throughout my sexual life. Like, I have had lots of sex. I've never been pregnant because I always take the necessary precautions. And that was advice that I took to heart throughout my whole sexual life. And, I've taken the necessary precautions to avoid getting pregnant by people I shouldn't be pregnant by. And it wasn't always something that I shared, something I did for myself because I trust my intuition. And, I'm 42 and I'll never say never. Maybe a baby's in my future, maybe it ain't. I mean, I hope it ain't because I don't want to go through that shit. But, if it is, it will be with someone that I feel will be a good father, will be a good husband, will be somebody that I don't mind being attached to for the rest of my life. I talk about this all the time. People are more afraid of getting married than they are of having children. And I'm like, bro, having children is like the biggest responsibility in the world. Like, there's no other job you're going to have that's more important than being a parent. You're not, because kids are the future. I know that sounds cliche, but they are. But people be out here making babies all willy-nilly with this one and that one and not even really putting too much thought into it. Like, I just never have been that. And people always say, "Oh, well, you're 42. Why don't you have kids?" I don't have kids because I'm afraid of being a parent. I would be a bomb-ass parent, okay? I don't have kids because I know the weight of that responsibility. I know the damage or good you could cause by being a good parent or a bad parent. Like, I understand the weight of parenthood. That's why I'm not a fucking parent. Because, it's a lot. But most people don't look at children or having children like it's a big deal. Because everybody just make babies all willy-nilly like it's not a big deal. It's a huge fucking deal. It's a huge fucking deal. You're creating the future of the world, having a baby. You could get a fucking divorce from somebody. You can't send your kid back. And you have a responsibility to make that kid a person that actually goes out into this world and is a decent person and hopefully gives back and does all these things. That's a lot of pressure. Like, I don't want that pressure. You know how Ari Lennox say apply pressure? No, not in that sense. Please do not apply pressure. No, thank you. And, it is what it is. If you're out here and you're a parent, I hope you're being responsible. And if you have a baby on the way, get ready, because that's a serious job, okay? But somebody got to do it. It ain't me, but somebody. Hey, yo, thanks for watching. My contact information is below. Please go like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Your support is, as always, appreciated. If you want to show that support with them dollars, though, throw your girl a cash app, you feel me? Until we meet again, smooches.